Gentlemen, the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Gutierrez, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask you about sexual assault by the President of the United States of America. Over the past few days, echoing previous allegations made against the President in the past several years, at least 16 women have come forward to say that the President of the United States felt them up, kissed them without permission, put his hands under their clothing without permission, groped them, touched their genitalia, walked into dressing rooms unannounced to see them naked, and made other unwanted sexual advances that to everyone are clear violations of the law. Now, I believe the women, and I generally give the women and their word a lot of weight. And when the him in question is Donald Trump, there really should be no further discussion, because as everybody, regardless of their political affiliations or partisanship, can clearly see, we have a man in the presidency who has a very difficult relationship with the truth. In this case, we have women who were made to feel powerless and insignificant, who at great personal cost and risk have come forward. And I believe them. I do. Al Franken is resigning from the Senate. And it goes no further than this committee, where 2 senior members resigned because women came forward and made credible claims. That just happened last week. And others on this dais right now are among the additional members of the body who are credibly accused of misconduct. Right now, with the number 2 person in the Justice Department before a committee and sworn to tell the truth, I think it's important to get your opinion on whether there are grounds for a criminal investigation or an ethics investigation against the President of the United States of America. For example, Rachel Crooks is one of the 16 women that we know of who have come forward. She said that President Trump, before he was president, quote, kissed me directly on the mouth. It was so inappropriate, he thought I was so insignificant that he could do that, end quote. Jill Harth, another one of the 16 women, said, quote, he groped me, he absolutely groped me, and he just slipped his hand there touching my private parts, end quote. Now, these are just 2 examples of unwelcome sexual advances. I think were he on the subway or in a restaurant, would not either or both of these incidents be enough to get him arrested? In your experience as the number 2 most important law enforcement officer in the United States? But before you answer that, how about these cases? Christian Anderson in an interview said, quote, the person on my right, who unbeknownst to me at the time was Donald Trump, put their hand up my skirt. He did touch my vagina through my underwear, end quote. And Cassandra Cyril said, he continually groped my ass and invited me to his hotel room, end quote. These are very serious allegations of crimes committed by the President, are they not? But before you answer the question, I think it's important to point out that these stories are corroborated by one of the most important witnesses of all. The President himself corroborates this. He told TV host Billy Bush when he was mic'd up for an interview with Entertainment Tonight, quote, I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet, just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. You continued, said, grab them by, and you know what he said. You can do anything, end quote. Samantha Hovley said on national television that when she was a contestant in a beauty contest, Trump would come back unannounced to the dressing room. And she tells her story, and once again, we have audio tape of the President corroborating this account when he told Howard Stern, well, quote, I'll tell you, the funniest is that before a show, I'll go backstage and everyone's getting dressed and everything else, and you know, no men are anywhere, but I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner. And he went on to say, the chicks will be almost naked, end quote. Mr. Rosenstein, I see you as a law enforcement officer, and I value your opinion on these matters. Would it be appropriate for you to investigate these and other allegations of assault and unwanted sexual advances by the President of the United States?
Congressman, I am happy to take any questions regarding oversight of the Department of Justice. With regard to that matter, any other allegation that you think warrants investigation, I would invite you to submit the evidence, and the department will review it if you believe there's a federal crime. That applies to any alleged violation by any person, and that's all I have to say about that.
But Mr. Rosenstein, you're the #2 top law enforcement officer in the nation. Let me ask you, if a person on a train went and kissed a woman, is that a crime?
If it's a federal crime, a federal train, it might be a federal crime, Congressman.
Say it's Amtrak.
Just not going to answer any hypotheticals.
Say it's Amtrak.
Wouldn't be appropriate for me to answer any hypotheticals.
Wouldn't be appropriate? You think that it's, as a #2 law enforcement officer, you don't think it's a crime for a woman to be on a train, to be in a restaurant sitting, and a stranger, unwanted stranger, would come up to her and grope her and kiss her, that's not a crime?
So if you ask
The
me
time
whether
of the
it's
gentleman
a
has
crime,
expired. The witness may answer the question.
I would have to know the facts, and I'd have to evaluate the law. I've never prosecuted a case like that in federal court, Congressman. But if you have an allegation by any person at any time, you should feel free to submit it.
The women have made the
The
allegation.
time of the gentleman has
Listen to
expired.
them.